Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It'll be 6:30 in just a moment, so we'll get started. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Today is Tuesday, July 8th, and it's 6:30 p.m. or thereabouts. If you don't mind joining me for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And Lisa, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Van
Here. Very good. We have three, so we do have a quorum. We can roll right into it then. And as there is no old business, I'll go right to the first conditional use under new business. Or whoever's going to do it.
This is a variance application for, thank you. This is a conditional use for the use of a property to be used as a facility for adults with developmental disorders. This is the map of the property. The property is 0.124 acres, occupied by a 3,640 square foot farm. It was converted to a commercial building containing 2 units. The subject parcel and the adjacent parcel were both rezoned from M1 to downtown business in 2023. And the property owner is also planning on constructing a surface parking lot with 7 spaces on the adjacent parcel. A little bit of history on this application. It was seen in January of 2024 and approved in that meeting, but expired after 6 months without the applicants having completed what they needed to do. So these are the existing conditions of the property. So the proposal is for the applicant to occupy 1 unit of the structure to be used as a facility for adults with developmental disabilities. The code defines institutions as a building or land designated to aid individuals in need of mental or rehabilitative counseling and other correctional services. And according to the code, institutions are a conditional use in downtown business zoning. The agency providers for adults, the narrative statement says that they are an agency provider for adults with developmental disabilities. They have been in Pataskala for 10 years, and they provide services to integrate these individuals with community and improve quality of life. Their hours would be Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., with 10 to 15 clients throughout the day, employing 2 to 5 people with an expected 2 to 3 vehicles on the site at any time. They provide in-house education, team building exercises, creative outlets, skill development, and job development. The applicants believe the proposed use will be harmonious with the surrounding neighborhood, and they will believe that the use would not create additional requirements at public cost or be detrimental to the existing or future neighborhood uses. As mentioned above, the use fits the definition of institutions as defined in the code, and the use is conditional in downtown business. According to code as well, uses within downtown business district are exempt from the parking requirements of the code. An on-site parking lot is not required. However, as mentioned before, the property owner is planning on constructing an adjacent parking lot area with 7 spaces. Should any signage be installed in the future, it must meet the code and be subject to permits from the Planning and Zoning Department. The existing structure is compliant with the code, and conditional uses shall be carried out within 6 months, also according to the code. But the applicant may apply for a one-time 6-month extension if need be. The planning and zoning department has no further comments. And no other department or agency had any other comments as well. We received an email from the residents of 504 Jefferson Street stating that they had no objections with the application. That was the only response from neighbors that we got. The uses surrounding the property are R7 and then M1, mostly single-family homes and other commercial buildings. These are the findings of fact that you have in your staff report. And our conditions, should the board choose to approve this request, would be that the applicant shall carry out the conditional use within 6 months from the date of approval pursuant to section 1215.09 of the Pataskala Code. And the applicant should obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Building Code Department within 6 months of the date of approval. I can answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just for the record, we do have a complete board. Mr. Denton is here. So I don't know if you need to officially mark that something. Questions? This one is virtually mirrors what we approved back in January of 2024, right?
Yeah, no changes.
Okay. I don't
Is it
know
the
that.
same, it's just an extension of.
Yeah.
Well, they're allowed one extension, which would have expired in December.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other questions for staff?
I have none.
All right. Is there someone here that would want to testify with us? Please, if you don't mind stepping up into the podium, and Lisa will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Right.
And if I could get your name and address for the record.
Yes, Luke Laney.
I'm sorry?
Luke Laney,
Okay. And your address, Mr. Rainey?
1018 Sugar Hill Place.
Okay.
Columbus, Ohio, 43230.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you've heard the presentation. I assume you probably read it also.
Yep.
Is there anything that you'd like to clarify or add to that?
Yeah, I thought everything was well done. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I guess really the thing that is kind of, to me, is fairly obvious is that we've gone through this. We did have a number of questions, I think, the last time. And just curious on why you're here again and why you didn't go through with it that time.
You know, I actually cannot speak for why that did not go through the first time.
Right.
My brother, who would normally be here representing Spark, is out of town. And I also work at Spark. It's a small family business. So I was kind of filling in his absence.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I'm not sure if it was just logistics or just we had a lot going on at that time and we're unable to continue with the application.
And current, or it said it in the past, and I'm going to assume currently you're still operating on a 325 Broad?
We are not anymore. We were for a very long time, and now we're at a church that is at. I'm unfamiliar with the exact address. I mostly spend most of my time in Worthington, but it's a church that's in Pataskala. That's closer to 70.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. I'm unsure.
Okay, but you're ready then to expand out and start in the new.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not necessarily an expansion, but just a relocation of that site.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Just a few questions because I have a horrible memory,
Yeah, no worries.
so I apologize. Was there any collaboration with the police department with this?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there really, I don't see a reason for there being a collaboration with the police department. So, no.
Okay. You'll be doing intake there,
Yes.
and do you do community outreach from there?
We do a little bit of community outreach. You know, we try to do a little bit of fundraising, a little bit of advocating for Meals on Wheels, stuff like that amongst the community. But that's really mostly what we do is life enriching activities and also continued education to hopefully get people jobs in the community.
It's fantastic. Okay.
How far along are you in the process? Like, if we approve this again this year, are we going to see you again next year doing this again?
No, it should be, we are kind of ready to go.
Ready to go now, okay.
You know, again, I'm kind of unsure of what the speed bumps that we hit previously. But,
Right.
No, we're all ready.
Okay.
We'd be excited to be there.
Thank you. Anything else for Mr. Wayne?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you guys so much.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll go to findings of fact. This is so- All right, findings of fact, conditional use 25-003, number 1, is in fact a conditional use as established under the provisions of Title III of the Planning and Zoning Code for the specific zoning district of the parcel listed on the application. And my understanding is that it is.
Yes, sir.
So yes. 2, will be harmonious and with accordance and in accordance with general objectives or with any specific objective of the city comprehensive plan and or this code. And I don't see any, I have no concern on that.
I will say
That's
yes.
good. So
Oh,
I'll
yes.
say yes.
Yes.
3, will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, and that such use will not change the essential character of the same area. And the design and construction is already done as far as the exterior, my understanding, so I think that I'm comfortable with yes.
Yes.
Okay. 4, will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses. See any infringement?
Yes, will not be.
Okay, yes, it will
Yes, will
not
not
be hazardous, good point. 5, will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services such as highways, streets, police and fire protection, drainage structures, refuse disposal, water and sewer, and schools. Or that the person or agencies responsible for the establishment of the proposed shall be able to provide adequately any such services. And I believe that's already in place.
Yes.
So we'll say, yes, it will be. 6, will not create excessive additional requirements at public cost for public facilities and services and will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the country community. And I would have to say, yes, it will not.
Yes, it will not.
I agree.
Okay. 7, will not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operations that will be detrimental to any persons, property, or the general welfare, including but not limited to excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, odor, potential for explosion, and air or water pollution.
Yes.
Yes, it will not. Okay. 8, will have vehicular approaches to the property, which shall be so designed so as not to interfere with traffic on surrounding public thoroughfares. I believe it already does. So comfortable with yes. And 9, will not result in destruction, loss, or damage of natural, scenic, or historic feature of major importance. And again, since it's already constructed, I'd say we're okay with yes on that. That's, yes. Okay. So I have yes for conditional use 25-003. I have yes for all 9 questions. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, would someone make a motion?
I move to approve a conditional use pursuant to section 1215.08 of the Pataskala Code for application CU-25-003 with the following conditions. The applicant shall carry out the conditional use within 6 months from the date of approval pursuant to section 1215.09 of the Pataskala Code. And applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Building Code Department within 6 months of the date of approval.
Thank you. Motion, do we get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll please.
Mr. Van Ryn,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Howell.
Yes, very good. The conditional use 25-003 has been approved. Good luck with the project. Thank you. And you don't have to stay for this meeting if you don't want to, but you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving to the first variance application on the new business, variance application 25-014. Who's going to handle it? Please.
The applicant is requesting approval of a variance from section 1229.05C4 of the Pataskala Code to allow for an accessory building to be built within the minimum required front yard setback from a public right-of-way. The address is 6335 Summit Road Southwest, Pataskala, Ohio, and the zoning is R87. This is an area map of the property. The lot is 0.34 acres, about 100 feet wide and 145 feet long, with an 1,000 square foot house built in 1927 and a 352 square feet garage access from an unimproved right-of-way to the east and built in 1990. The lot has frontage on 3 right-of-ways, Summit Road Southwest to the west and 2 unimproved right-of-ways to the north and east. Code section 1229.05C4 requires accessory buildings to have the same minimum setback for all public right-of-ways as for the front yard. In the R87 district, the front yard setback is 75 feet. The applicant is proposing to replace the existing garage in the same location, which would require a reduction in the minimum required setback. The existing garage is 352 square feet and is currently 1 foot from the eastern property line. The new garage will be slightly larger at 20 feet by 20 feet, about 400 square feet, but will maintain the current 1 foot setback from the right-of-way. This would still require a variance. This is a site map of the property. The garage in question is to the right. According to the narrative statement, the garage needs to be replaced as it is in a deteriorated condition. Rebuilding in compliance with zoning regulations is not feasible without reducing accessibility and functionality of the garage. The applicant believes that the request is not substantial and that a variance is necessary to maintain reasonable use of the property. Then they did not state whether they were aware of zoning restrictions when purchasing the property. Section 1229.05C4 of the Pataskala Code, again, states that accessory buildings have to meet the same minimum setback from all public right-of-ways as for the front yard. Again, the proposal is to replace the existing garage that is set back 1 foot from the property line, adjacent to a public right-of-way. Maintaining the current 1 foot setback would require a reduction of 98.7% in the minimum setback required for front yards. The lot is 100 feet wide, as mentioned before, and 145 feet long, making it unfeasible to meet the 75-foot setback requirement from all 3 public right-of-ways. Other accessory buildings in the neighborhood have similar setbacks, and if approved, the applicant would just need to submit for an accessory building permit from planning and zoning and a building permit from Licking County before construction. The city engineer supports reconstruction of the accessory building as it does not encroach further towards the public right-of-way, and no other departments or agency had any comments. The surrounding properties are mostly all zoned R87 as well, and either undeveloped or single-family homes as well. These are the findings of facts that are included in your staff report. And should the board choose to approve this request, the following conditions should be considered. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Building Code Department within 1 year of the date of approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. The only variance we're talking about is strictly the setback. The size of the
No, that's not
proposed
a question.
garage is good. Okay. And it's going to be, or at least the plan is to put it in the same basic footprint that it has today,
Yeah, a little wider.
right? Except for the size. Okay. Any other questions for staff?
None.
There's someone here to testify on that? Coming up. And you could face Lisa, get sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about this is true, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
And if you don't mind, if I could get your name and address for the record.
It's Destiny Coleman.
Okay.
And my address is 6335 Seventh Street.
It is the property in question. Okay, thank you. So you've heard Michaela's presentation, and I think you've probably read it also.
Yes.
And is there anything that you'd like to clarify for us or add to it?
That was very descriptive of the property and of my application. My neighbors have also requested a recent variation to their property as well to build a garage. So very similar properties have accessory buildings in that.
How old is the garage that's there now?
I personally don't know because I didn't build it. I bought the property about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I've had a few engineers come out. They told me the 50s or 60s, but it could also
It's
be
old.
the 90s. It's very old.
The auditor's website says 1990.
Is that right?
The current garage, the previous garage was older, but then it was rebuilt in 1990.
Yeah.
Okay, and the plan is to totally take that out,
Yes,
And
demolish it.
put a new in?
Yes.
And you're accessing that from the alley?
Yes, currently.
Gotcha. That alley is a public thoroughfare, right?
Technically.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it dead ends at the tree line, which is also an alley.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Coleman?
I have none.
Well, thank you. You can have a seat then. I think it's pretty straightforward going on the same spot.
Yep.
And
I'm comfortable with it.
so, if you're all okay, I'll go right into findings of fact for variance application 25-014. A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or if there can be a very beneficial use of the property.
Yes.
I think yes, obvious. B, whether there are unique physical circumstances or conditions that prohibit the property being developed in strict conformity with the zoning regulation, such that a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. I think there's a couple. One is the overall length of the property. It would put a 75-yard setback probably in their living room, I'm thinking. And the other thing is, of course, with the existing property there, or existing garage there, I think that would also create a unique physical circumstance. So if you're comfortable, we'll say yes.
Yes.
C, whether the variance requested is substantial, and I believe it was 98%, so it would certainly be substantial.
Yes.
D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Obviously, just putting it, even though it's a little bit larger, it's basically replacing what's already there. So I would say no, it would not be.
I would agree.
Okay. D would be no. E, whether the variance if granted will substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property. It's not infringing on the property, so say no.
Yep.
F, whether the variance if granted will be detrimental to the public welfare. Say
No.
no. G, whether the variance if granted would adversely affect the delivery of government services. Again, the alley's there and undeveloped, but we have to say no. I think it's got access, good access. H, whether the property owner purchased subject property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. I believe that Michaela testified she did not, or it was in the presentation. Guess you didn't testify. I, whether the property owner's predicament can be obviated through some other method than variance. I don't think it can in this case. It might be a lesser variance, but I think she would still need a variance if she's going to rebuild.
I agree.
Okay, so.
No.
That's just no. Whether the variance, if granted, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and represent the least modification possible of the requirement at issue. I think it's certain the least modification possible. I think.
Spirit of the code, I agree.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm comfortable with yes.
Yes.
And K, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement will be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance.
Yes.
I think we've answered that on the last one, so yes. All right. Findings of fact, variance application 25-014, yes for A, B, C, J in for K, and I have no for D, E, F, G, H, and for I. Any additional discussion? If none, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the variance request for a variance application VA 25-014 with the following conditions. Applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and Licking County Building Code Department within 1 year of the date of approval.
Second.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll please.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes,
Mr. D'Andrea.
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Coleman, your variance application has been approved and we're ready for your next step, I guess. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, variance application 25-015. Gail?
The applicant is requesting approval from section 1221.05 D4 of the Pataskala Code to allow for an accessory structure to be located on a lot without a principal structure. The address is 13850 Cleveland Road Southwest in Summit Station. This is an area map of the property. As you can see, the property is set back a little bit from the road. So the lot in total is 5.001 acres. It's undeveloped. It is currently occupied by a 10-foot by 16-foot shed and an 8-foot by 14-foot chicken coop in the middle of the property with agricultural uses surrounding. And access to the property is maintained by a dirt road off of Cleveland Road. Section 1221.05 D4 of the Pataskala Code states that accessory buildings cannot be located on lots without principal structures. The applicant is proposing to keep an existing accessory building on a property without a principal structure for use as storage. The existing chicken coop located next to the shed shall also be kept, but does not need a variance. And a composting toilet is also proposed as part of the improvements. This is pictures of the existing shed and chicken coop. The shed, according to the narrative statement by the applicant, the shed was constructed for storage associated with the agricultural use of the property, and it will not contain dwelling space or plumbing. The applicant believes that the requested variance is the minimum necessary to support the agricultural use of the property. It is minimal in its effect to the surrounding properties. It does not alter the existing character of the neighborhood. Public welfare will not be harmed, and it will not interfere with the delivery of any government services. The applicant was not aware of the zoning restrictions at the time they purchased the property. The applicant has applied for a variance from section from the code to allow for an accessory building, a shed, to be located on a lot without a principal structure. According to the NAICS, keeping chickens for egg and meat production is allowed on all lots over 5 acres, and the chicken coop does not require permits from planning and zoning. The composting toilet is required to comply with all standards of the Licking County Health Department and may require a permit from them. If the variance is approved, the applicant needs to submit for an accessory building permit from planning and zoning. The zoning inspector commented that the property is currently in the code violation process for an accessory building without a permit. The first notice was given in early June, but the violation process was paused while the variance process is carried out. The Licking County Health Department commented that the composting toilet must adhere to standards of the health department and may need a permit before installation. No other departments or agencies commented. The surrounding properties are mostly either R20 or R87 and are either undeveloped single-family homes or transportation facilities. These are the findings and facts that are in your staff report. And should the board choose to approve the applicant's request, the following conditions may be considered. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Health Department within 3 months of the date of approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
we're looking at just the accessory building
Yeah,
On the
we're
property,
looking
not
at
the
just the
house.
shed, not the chicken coop.
and not the toilet.
No,
That's not actually.
it doesn't require any permits from us. It might require permits from the health department.
It's a real stupid question, I guess.
Mhm.
The property is being used to raise chickens.
Yes,
Currently, right?
Correct.
yes.
Wouldn't the chicken coop become the principal structure?
It cannot because we can't permit it. We have no way to permit that structure. If it were a house, we can permit it, it's the principal structure, but because it's a chicken coop, we can't there's no way for us to permit it,
Okay.
so it's not recognized as a structure.
Told you it was a stupid question. I tried. Any other questions for staff?
No.
All right, so is there someone here to testify for that? Go up, please. And we'll have you get sworn in if you could.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
And if I can get name and address for the record.
My name is Krishna Dahlia. My address is 13850 Dublin Road, Southwest Road, Southeast Station.
Thank you. So you live adjacent to this property? Or,
This is my property location. My home address is 7986 Winsome Court, Ladley Park.
I'm sorry,
He lives at Blacklick.
oh, Blacklick, okay, gotcha. Okay, well, Delia? Did I?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry. You've heard the presentation. Is there anything you'd like to clarify, omit, or add to it?
Yeah, actually, I'm from the farmer background, and I like to teach my kids how the farmer stuff works. So I like to grow the foods for my own family. It's not for the business. So my kids love doing the farming also, to growing potato, tomato, and it's like a refreshing for us family to go on the farm and do the work and go out on food and bring that to the table. We will enjoy those type of life. So if I don't have any safe there, I could not store my utility, the supplies like tools, soil, and cannot store my chicken feed over there. That's why I was desperately looking for this.
Understand. Do you grow vegetables there too? Do you grow vegetables on this
Yes.
property too?
Yeah, we do grow chilies, potato, tomato, beans,
Yeah.
okra.
Okay. Okay.
And that's for our family use.
Gotcha. Any questions, Mr.?
Do you know any of the neighbors to that property?
I have a couple guys I know nearby this property, but I don't have any other relationship with them or not.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to know how you keep predators out.
All right, thank you. If you're gonna have a seat, we may call you back.
Thank you.
Should ask about the predators. I'm sure we could probably give some tips there.
I'm working on it because we're building a run around our chicken coop right now. I'm just working on trying to get that.
Okay. Since the coop is legal, because it's just over 5 acres, but it's over. And I don't think that a shed is pretty. We haven't heard anything from neighbors yet. Or have we? I'm asking, I guess. Is anybody?
I think the thing that started the code violation process was a neighbor complaining, but they never identified themselves.
Okay.
And no neighbor notifications based upon this variance application.
And based upon the notice for this. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Seems to be a small concession in the situation.
Yeah.
But if there's no other discussion, I'll move right to findings of fact. Okay. Findings of fact, variance application 25-015A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or if there can be a beneficial use of the property. Just getting some use of the property, so say yes. Sure. B, whether there are unique physical circumstances or conditions that prohibit the property being developed in strict conformity with the zoning regulations such that a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. The unique physical circumstance in this case is there's no residential home there. So if that property was to remain in use as it is now, then that to me would be the physical circumstance. So I'd be comfortable with yes on that. Anyone else? Thoughts?
So I don't think there's a physical. I was thinking that myself. There's a physical.
Well, I could see both sides.
Yeah,
without a
yeah, I
doubt.
mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
My initial reaction was no.
All right. No. All right. No, we'll take it. C, whether the variance requested is substantial. We don't have anything on a percentage basis on this, so thoughts? I don't think it is.
I don't think,
It's either 0 or 100, right?
That's right.
0.
Yeah, this is like, I don't think we can apply a percentage, so.
I think it's substantial.
Comfortable with no?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or the adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. And again, I don't think the properties are affected, plus it's way in the middle of this. So you say no?
It sits back off the road pretty well.
Yeah.
It's existing,
It is existing.
altered, so to speak.
Mhm. Okay, E, whether the variance if granted will substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent properties.
No.
Should have no effect on that. F, whether the variance if granted will be detrimental to the public welfare. Is there anything negative there?
No.
No. Whether the variance if granted would adversely affect the delivery of government services. Again, I don't see where it would be impede that. Whether the property owner purchased the subject property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, I believe in the presentation, it said that he did not have knowledge. Whether the property owner's predicament could be obviated through some other method than variance. This we would have to say yes, you would just take the shed down.
Build a house.
Okay, J, whether the variance if granted will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and represent the least modification possible of the requirement at issue. Since it's already constructed, there'd be no modification.
I say yes.
So I guess this would be what is the minimum
Yeah.
variance? So yes. Okay, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement will be observed and substantial justice done by granting it. I am comfortable with yes.
Yes.
Okay. So variance application 25015, findings of fact. I have yes for A, I, J, and K. No for all the rest, B, C, D, E, F, G, and for H. And any other discussion on that? If none, can someone make a motion?
I move to approve one variance from section 1221.05D4 for variance application VA-25-015 with the following conditions. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Health Department within 3 months of the date of approval.
Thank you. The motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll, please.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes?
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderaker?
Yes.
Thank you. Variance application 25-015 has been accepted and approved. And Mr., I'm going to pronounce it wrong again, Dahlia. Good luck with your property. Appreciate that.
Chicken farm.
All your chicken farming and vegetable farming. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. You're welcome. Thank you. All right. We have another variance application, variance application 25-016.
Of course, the location of this one's for 1349 Harold Stewart Parkway. It's currently zoned R7 Village Single Family Residential. The applicant's requesting approval of 3 variances. First one's to allow for a swimming pool to be located within the required setback. Second is to allow for the pump and filter installations for that pool to be within the required setback. And third, to allow for a driveway to be closer than 3 feet to a side property line. This is the property in question here, outlined in yellow. The only frontage is to the south on the Harold Stewart Parkway. This is in the Hazelwood subdivision. Looking at the properties, lot 54 of the Hazelwood Section 2 subdivision. It's currently occupied by a single-family home and an in-ground pool that was built in 2023, as well as some additional concrete patio and pool surround that was built in 23 as well. And a concrete driveway to Harold Stewart Parkway was also added in 2023. On the property, there's also a 20-foot wide easement across the rear. So a little bit of zoning history. There was a permit for a pool approved in 2023. That permit was for a 15 by 30 or 450 square foot semi-in-ground pool with a 3-foot concrete surround. That was going to be set back 15 feet from the west side property line, 35 feet from the north, or 15 feet from the easement, and 16 feet from the east. However, the pool that was installed is not the pool that was approved with that permit. The pool that was installed is 17 by 29 or 493 square feet in-ground pool with a 3-foot surround and a 12 by 22 foot pad on the east side of the pool. That the overall dimensions are 10 feet from the west side property line, 22 feet from the north property line or 2 feet from the easement, and 8 feet from the east side property line. Pump and filter pad as installed is 15 feet from the east side and encroaches 3 feet into the rear easement or 17 feet from the north side property line. The previous asphalt driveway was replaced with an expanded concrete driveway without a permit in that time. It's 9 feet wider than the previous drive for a total width of 25 feet at the home. Per the applicant, the edge of that driveway is on the east side property line with a 0-foot setback. So here's a look at the site plan that was submitted by the applicant with the application here. And then here is a view of the property as it is today with the pool in the rear, as well as the expanded concrete driveway out front.
Could you go back to the other one real quick?
Yep.
That was the proposal on 23, or?
This is for the variance application.
Okay.
This is what they included in their variance application.
That's existing, right?
Yes. So in the narrative statement that was submitted by the applicant, they say that they believe the variances are necessary as without them, the area allowable for the pool will be limited. They stated that digging up the pool would be a great expense to them. And they believe that the request will not substantially alter the character of the surrounding neighborhood, and said that the pool is still below the maximum size allowable of 10% of the lot area. Also, regarding the driveway, the applicant said they do not believe it will or has adversely affected the neighboring property. They also included in the application a letter from the owners of 1353 Harold Stewart Parkway that's directly adjacent to the east, stating they have no objections. Part of our review, staff would offer the following comments. There's been 2 improvements made to the property, the pool and the driveway, that are currently in violation of Pataskala code. 2 variances have been requested for the pool, 1 for the driveway. That first variance is from section 129702B2 to reduce the minimum required setback of 10 feet from a property line or an easement on the east side from 10 feet to 8 feet, a reduction of 2 feet or 20%. And on the north side from 10 feet to 0 feet as the pump and filter encroaches into that easement, or 100% reduction. The 20-foot easement along the rear, there is an existing public stormwater main through that easement. We're unable to determine if there's any other utilities like electric, internet, et cetera, are also present there. The second variance is also from section 129702B2, which further states that the minimum required setback for a pump and filter from property lines is 20 feet. So they're requesting on the east side from 20 feet down to 15 feet, a 5-foot or 25% reduction. And on the north side from 20 feet to 17 feet, or a 3-foot or 15% reduction. The third variance is from section 1121.13. That's to reduce the minimum side yard setback for driveways. Per the applicant, the edge of the driveway is on the property line at a 0-foot setback. So they're asking to reduce that from 3 feet to 0, or 100% reduction. The city standard driveway drawing requires aggregate 304 as a base with a minimum concrete depth of 4 inches. The applicant did state they followed these standards when they built the driveway, but there's no way for us to verify that because there wasn't a permit pulled and we did not do the required inspections before pouring that concrete. Section 120904 allows staff to require a survey completed by a registered surveyor to be furnished as part of a zoning permit application. The applicant will need to reapply for a swimming pool permit as the current one is expired and invalid, and a driveway permit. At that time, staff will require a survey as part of the application to determine if the driveway is not encroaching over the property line onto the adjoining neighbor's property. Under no circumstances may the city or the Board of Zoning Appeals allow one property owner to encroach onto another's, even if the current owner states they have no issue with that encroachment unless there's an easement granted by that property owner to the property owner who's encroaching onto their land, and those lots replatted to show said easement. The exact also want to know the exact location and level of encroachment into the rear easement. Property owner should also understand that should the city or other utility which has infrastructure within that rear 20-foot easement ever need to access that infrastructure to either maintain, repair, replace it, that the city or other utility will not be liable to repair or replace anything damaged in the course of their work as that property owner's improvements were placed within the easement. The zoning inspector had the following comments. Property is currently in violation as they installed the pool does not match what was approved on the permit, and the driveway was installed without a permit. Public Service Director had the following comments. They want them to confirm the driveway is not on the neighbor's property to the west via survey. Additionally, the survey should also confirm that the pool's equipment is not encroaching inside the 20-foot storm easement along the north property line. The second comment was note that the storm sewer appears to run underneath an accessory structure along the north property line. Accordingly, when maintenance that's required, that building will be moved to allow for maintenance to be completed. It will not be replaced by the city. Planning and zoning staff would add a note to that. It appears that that structure is actually just a trampoline and a swing set in the rear easement, which we generally don't require permits for. But if there is an accessory building back there, it does need a permit and it cannot be in the easement. So, and that area can't be paved or gravel surface as well. Didn't receive any other comments from any other departments or agencies. We did receive one other neighbor comment after the staff report had gone out, and that was from the owner of 1345 Harold Stewart, the one that's directly adjacent to the west, stating they have no objections to the variance requests. Surrounding properties to the northeast, south, and west are all zoned R7, and they're all single-family homes in the Hazelwood subdivision. There are your findings of fact for an area variance are also printed in your staff report there. So should the board choose to approve the applicant's request, following conditions may be considered that the applicant obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala, the Licking County Building Code Department within 6 months of the date of approval. And at the time of application for a zoning permit, the property owner shall furnish a survey completed by a registered surveyor showing the completed improvements, easements, and dimensions of the property lines. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Quite a bit to take in. So the original pool permit met all the setbacks.
Correct.
And then what was the difference in size? Or is it just been put in a different spot, or is it the pool bigger than what was permitted?
The pool was slightly bigger than what was permitted. They had also added some additional concrete area around the pool as well.
So is it the concrete area or the pool that's in violation? I understand that it's all the one thing as far as we're concerned, but just physically, is it the pool or the?
It'd be, I think the concrete surrounds 3 feet, so on the north side, it would be both.
Both. Okay. Now, the driveway, there was no permit, and there's no way you can check to see that it was poured correctly, right?
Correct.
Any questions for staff?
I have none.
Okay, hearing none.
Was the shed there? Was the shed there during the first application?
Is that neat? Is there a shed?
I don't believe there's, I think the public service director was incorrect. I think he saw this item back here and believed it was a building, but
It's
I
not.
believe it's actually a trampoline.
Kind of hard to tell for the picture. Okay.
We'll get an answer to that in just a second anyway.
That's right. Sir, are you here with?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and if I could have you get sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the case of truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
And can I get name and address?
Joel Rovito, Rovito. I'm the attorney for Richard Shear and his brother and current resident.
Okay. Now, Mr. Avito, you've basically heard, and I'm sure you're obviously intimately familiar with it. Can you give us any more clarification?
Yes, so Came home one day and my wife decided she wanted to have a pool in the backyard, and she bought a 15 by 30 pool and had it delivered to the front of the house. And we had a guy, she got the contractor, came in to dig the pool. He dug the pool for the pool to go in it. Then he went to the front driveway and looked at the pool and said, "There's no way I'm putting this in. It's gonna fall over. It's not made to go in the ground." So that went into my garage and was eventually thrown away. And I ordered another pool to get there since we had a hole in the ground. And they didn't have a 15 by 30, so I got 17 by 29. They delivered it. It was installed. Everybody had the plan, so I'm not sure what had happened. I think the pool was put in the proper place. When the pool was being installed, he was supposed to put like a gravel bottom or something, and he said, "Well, you have a concrete guy, why don't you just have him concrete the whole bottom?" And I should have put a concrete pool in. But anyways, he went pretty happy with the outside there too, and the concrete is really what's encroaching. You can see on the west side there, the concrete's way out because it's matching the concrete that was there on the initial pad where the hot tub is. So he wanted it, it wasn't gonna look good if he moved it inside, so he put it out to the outside, and this was all done while we were on vacation. Then both of the neighbors to the right, the three neighbors in the back, they all used the pool. That whole backyard with the 20-foot easement, I can barely put anything back there but the distance that I did without taking out the patio that was already existing. That patio in front of the pool was already there. And had been there. So we would have had to cut back all of that concrete there just to move the pool in to get within the easement. The concrete driveway, that was my fault, I guess. I didn't think you needed to do a permit to asphalt driveway. This was 4 or 5 years ago. I believe when they came out to look at the pool, they're the one who spotted the driveway and said it wasn't in compliance, realized there was no permit, told me I needed to do the variance for that too, as long as I was doing the swimming pool. So that's what I did. The pool in the back and the concrete cost me about 75 grand. The driveway in the front was 15 to 20. And there is an exposure on the driveway on the left-hand side on the west that shows the thickness of the driveway, and I think that they could see that it's in compliance. All the way the whole left side is exposed. It's not landscaped up to the driveway. But I do think they can see what kind of concrete was used that's in compliance. My neighbor to the left there, Kathy Kitchen, she approved. She said the same thing. She said she went out there when they were doing it saying, "Are you sure you got to come over that far?" And my fence that's in the backyard to the west there is in about 2 feet from the property line. And he should have been a little farther even than that, so I'm not sure why it went out that far. But again, I wasn't there when he did it. And Kathy's okay with it. My neighbor to the right is where the encroachment is on the property. It's only 8 feet as opposed to 10. And that's mainly because that whole padding to the right there is pretty extensive, but it's 8 foot instead of 10. And John and Nicole don't care. Like I said, everybody uses the pool, but it was a mess, and it'd be very costly for me to obviously have to tear down the pool or cut out any of the concrete. That's my dilemma.
Okay.
That is a trampoline in the backyard.
No structure back there,
No
right?
structure. I have a better picture on my phone of the layout of the backyard that shows the trampoline.
Sounds like something that would.
No, because the variance
Sounds
isn't
like
really
something
for
that
that
would
idea.
Hey, about a pool, go ahead and put it installed.
Questions for Mr. Revito? So, Mr. Revito, just to understand, you live there.
Thank you.
And then, so what, Mr. Scherer, you just lease from him?
Well, I'm purchasing it from him.
Yeah.
We have our own little
Gotcha,
deal on it.
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I take care of it. I replace everything.
Gotcha.
Questions for Mr. Revito?
Yep.
As far as well, again, this is kind of a tough one because you had the permit, I mean, when it was permitted, it was within code. So whoever who did the permit? Was it you or was it the pool installer?
was me and the pool installer, and probably my poor measurement, because that's not my wheelhouse. I probably shouldn't have been doing it.
But permit wise, you were okay.
Yeah, Jack was very helpful. I sat down with him and went through it all.
It's the install part that's the problem.
And yeah, and again, I was away when he had the hole dug and put it in, but I think it's the concrete around it that's really the biggest encroachment on
Right.
the easement. And the fact that I have 20 foot in the backyard with, I think it's just the water that runs right in the middle of it, right in front of the trampoline.
Stormwater, I mean?
Yeah, that's the only encroachment. The internet and cable run down the right side of the property, because they flagged it all when we went to go in there. The only thing I seen were green flags and orange for the cable running down
Mhm.
the other side of the property.
Yeah.
There's nothing else back.
But the concrete's no wider than the footprint of the house.
No. Not on either side.
But the driveway's lumped into those two. That's one of the conditions.
Which one, what?
It's one of the conditions, he has to get a survey and
Right.
that'll have
Make
to
sure
be dealt
it's,
with.
make sure it's not encroaching on the adjacent property.
Right.
So it's like, you understand that if it's in their property, that would have to be dealt with, but that's,
Yeah, I would cut it back if I had to cut it back. I'm not,
sure, it's like,
that's not the big expense.
Right.
Obviously, cut it back to the driveway. If it's on it, I'll put it back enough. Is it 3 feet? Is that what it's supposed to be? I'm not sure. But that would still bring it back closer to the house.
just a bridge you might have to cross, that's all.
If you were to approve the variance, you'd be approving the driveway to be up to the property line.
Not a-
So if it was over the property line, then it would just have to be cut back to the property line.
Right, we can't approve part of the variance. I mean, it's
Correct.
all three are done. Questions?
I have none.
No.
Mr. Revito?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Revito.
Thanks.
It's kind of torn. Because it was, approved the right way and then installed. It's just like totally, I don't know, disregarding the plans that they had got approved. I don't understand that part. I don't know what to do about it either.
No, I mean, it's in a fenced area, I think. It's concrete, it's just,
I don't think, as far as what's there is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's more, in my mind, the precedent that doesn't matter here. For the permit, go ahead and just get this done, but do whatever you want once you install. I mean, it sets a bad precedent.
well, I don't, hearing what he's saying, I don't think he did it maliciously, right?
Right.
I think, contractor gets there and just went overboard, didn't follow proper guidelines.
Still means it's done willingly. I mean,
Yeah,
even negligently.
my concern mostly is the precedent it sets, and how about the house to the north of it or across the street, and they can start doing what they want. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it sends a bad message. But, I mean, physically what's there.
We've been in this predicament before too, right?
Seems like today, everything was built, wasn't it? I mean, all our variances,
Yeah.
all our variances were already
After the
there.
fact, yeah.
Because it would have been easier to tear down a little shed.
And there's no value in separating the driveway from the pool situation.
We can't.
Just
If
can't.
it's submitted on one application, it's all or nothing.
And the driveway, in my opinion, just doesn't make sense to go out that far. It's not like it's a,
No, I don't
Turn
think that
around
was
or something.
Again, I don't think that was the initial intent.
Right,
either.
right.
I think the concrete guy said I've got extra concrete. I can make some more money here.
That's right, I can
Put it down.
do another yard or two. I don't know. We'll go to findings of fact, and are we ready at that point? Or more discussion?
I'm good.
All right, I'll go to findings of fact. Variance application 25-016. Findings of fact. A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or if there can be a beneficial use of the property. I believe yes.
Yes.
Comfortable with that? B, whether there are unique physical circumstances or conditions that prohibit the property being developed in strict conformity with the zoning regulations such that a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. And my opinion would be no on that.
I would agree.
Yep.
Okay, B would be no. C, whether the variance requested is substantial. Percentage-wise, they're all fairly low. No, they're not. We got the 100% in the first one, so
I say it's substantial.
I think it
I'd say
is.
yes.
Outside the property, man.
If it's outside the product, definitely is. So let's say, yes, it is substantial. D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially be altered or the adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. I guess both the adjoining properties doesn't consider it a detriment.
I would say no.
And, no, it's behind the fence, right? Most of it. E, whether the variance if granted will substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property. And I have to say it wouldn't, as long as it's not encroaching on the property, right?
Agreed.
Okay, no. F, whether the variance if granted will be detrimental to the public welfare.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
G, whether the variance if granted would adversely affect the delivery of government services being into the only thing is that one pad is in the easement, so could that be? I'm not really sure what the easement's for, though.
I thought it was just storm water.
It probably is, so we're gonna say no for that.
I'd say no.
Comfortable with no?
Yes.
Yeah.
H, whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. I'm gonna say yes, because they adhere to it on the permitting process.
Mhm.
Okay. I, whether the property owner's, predicament can be obviated through some other method than variance. It would be expensive, but yes, it could.
Mhm.
Okay. J, whether the variance if granted will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and represent the least modification possible of the requirement at issue. And since it's already in place, it would be the least modification.
Agreed.
Okay. That would be yes. And K, when the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Thoughts? Comfortable with yes?
I'm comfortable with yes.
All right, findings of fact, variance application 25016, we got yes for A, C, H, I, J, and K. And we've got no for B, D, E, F, and for G. Any other discussion?
Can we look at D and E again real quick?
Sorry?
Can we look at D and E again real quick?
Sure. D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would substantially be substantially altered or adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance.
So if we approved it, that only approves it up to the property line. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm good.
how about E? You want to look at that again?
Same. We're
Okay.
good.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then I would say, would like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the 3 variance requests for variance application VA-25-016 with the following conditions. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Licking County Building Code Department within 6 months of the date of approval. At the time of the application for a zoning permit, property owner shall furnish a survey completed by a registered surveyor showing the completed improvements, easements, and dimensions to the property lines.
Thank you. Your motion, second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll please.
Mr. Howe,
No.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Yeses have it. Variance application 25-016 has been accepted. Mr. Revito, I guess the next step would be the survey then.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Sounds like
you.
have the least resistance.
Exactly. All right.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thanks, you do the same. All right, if we could, I would jump right into findings of fact, and I'll make a motion to accept the findings of fact for conditional use 25-003 as discussed recently. Any second?
A second.
Motion and a second, discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Thank you. Conditional use 25-003 findings of fact accepted as written. Move to accept the findings of fact for variance application 25-014. Any second?
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? Roll please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes. Findings of fact, variance application 25-014 accepted. Move to accept the variance application, or findings of fact for variance application 25-015 as discussed.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Roll.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes. Findings of fact for variance application 25-015 accepted. And I'd like to move to accept the findings of fact for variance application 25-016 as just discussed. And
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Variance application, findings of fact for variance application 25-016 have been approved. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept or excuse of the absence for Mr. Danduran from our June 10th regular meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Oh, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes. You have been excused from my June meeting, Mr. Vandern. And I'd like to move to excuse the absence of Mr. Cooper from the same June 10th meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll.
Mr. Cooper,
Abstain.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Very good. Excuse of absence has been accepted. Moving, should have all received minutes and from the June 10th meeting. Is there any alterations, additions, deletions? Hearing none, I'd like to accept the minutes for the June 10th meeting as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
And discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
June 10th minutes approved as written. That being said, is there any other business to be brought before the board?
No, sir.
Thank you. Then I'll move to adjourn until August. So got a second? And third, fourth. Roll.
Mr. Vanderack,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Sit down.